Well, hey there, everyone. Nate Zalesny here with the White Dove Method, which is now the Integrated Ascension Method, combining 16th century ancient wisdom of breathwork, meditation, healing, and extrasensory abilities, along with 21st century technology. And I'm here today with Dr. Cy Fisher up in Washington. And Dr. Cy has been doing my program, the LEAP program, the Life Force Energy Ascension Protocol program, for quite a few months now. And he's had some amazing results for himself and for his family. So I wanted to bring Dr. Cy on so that I could ask him some questions and really pick his brain as far as how he's been able to apply this into his life and what benefits he's seeing. So, Dr. Cy, welcome to our interview today. How are you?
Thanks for having me today, Nate. I am doing great. I'm excited to be here. I had a few butterflies in my stomach today in preparation for this meeting because I was excited to meet with you. But I'm just glad to be here.
Beautiful. Me too. Me too. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and honoring me and honoring everyone who watches this with your feedback and your knowledge, because you're definitely an authority in your field of naturopathic medicine, which I'll let you explain a little bit more about that in a bit. But right now, I'd like to ask you a couple questions about, what has your road been like so far that brought you into the field of naturopathic medicine? Why did you do this?
As I was contemplating this meeting today, um, I was thinking that very question, right? So the short answer is my dad got sick when I was 19 and he passed away from lung cancer. And so I was exposed to kind of more of the natural type of thing. He decided to do natural medicine versus standard traditional medicine. So they only gave him a few months to live using standard methods. And he decided to do the natural method or more natural methods, if you will. And so he lived about 18 months and he had a much higher quality of life. And so from that perspective, I was a little more open to natural medicine. As a kid, actually, I remember that when I was a little kid that I loved, wizardry stuff and sci-fi books and all that kind of stuff. So when I got into natural medicine, there was a whole bunch of really cool stuff that I got to learn about, how the body naturally heals, energy work, the different substances from an energetic substance like a homeopathic remedy to more herbal remedies to more, as they call them, heroic medicine like traditional medicine offers, right? There's quite a variety of options out there for health and healing. And I really felt a draw towards the natural perspective, knowing my own experience, and some of it was driven by my own desire to heal some of my own wounds internally, and to be able to see what's out there. I love the idea of just kind of pushing the envelope and seeing what we can do as human beings. So that's kind of the short, long story.
I love it. That's fantastic. Well, so how long have you been how long have you been practicing?
I have been practicing. I was just running the numbers just the other day. I've been practicing for almost 10 years.
Wow, beautiful. Beautiful. And so when you are able to assist people, what is that like for you as far as what is the feeling that you get? Because you had the option of course, going into allopathic medicine and just writing scripts and, getting lots of kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies, but you chose to go into the naturopathic realm that actually focuses on helping the body heal and get better rather than just covering it up with band-aids or possibly, putting in a titanium rod in a broken leg, which is very valuable. But what drew you into as far as what is the most satisfying, I should say, what is the most satisfying thing for you?
For me, the most satisfying aspects of what I do, acute medicine is still involved being a naturopathic physician. So sometimes I will refer people up to the ER, urgent care, or something like that, or write a script for a urinary tract infection or something like that. And sometimes, when we get into those places, that's absolutely necessary. So I'm not opposed to any aspects of those things, right? So, but what really drives me and what is a wonderful aspect of what I do is to really see people stabilize, physiologically speaking, and then get a deeper level of healing as they get to know themselves, as they learn about themselves, I focus on a lot of mental health, holistic mental health. And so Once I stabilize a person, my main focus is to help a person to be able to learn who they are and heal themselves through getting to know themselves better, which very much goes along with the white dove method, which is why I just love the white dove method.
I love it. That's fantastic. And we've had obviously can't claim any healings as far as this will do this, but there have been so many people that with this breath work, which I'm sure after having practiced it for quite a while now, you can understand why people with asthma or people with lung who are affected by the pandemic, so let's not set off any
Yeah.
flags on the internet, or people who have fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue syndrome, or say they have some kind of an energy issue where they're there's a specific malady that they call it in Japan where it's caused by electromagnetic frequencies and the diminishing of your auric field. And so things like that, we've had so many people, literally, I would say at least 95% of people with asthma have not had the symptoms of asthma after about 3 months of practicing the LEAP program alone and for the rest of their life. So with things like that, I can definitely understand and feel how it feels so good to help somebody's body heal. And of course, if somebody was having an issue, yeah, send them to the ER for sure. We're great. The Western medicine model is definitely good at trauma medicine, but sometimes it's not as good in chronic conditions, as we know. And so that's why I applaud you for what you're doing and helping people on that level. And when you have been applying the LEAP program, you've done what other energy or breathwork modalities have you done?
I've done some basic, for example, like Wim Hof breathing, some of the more advanced Wim Hof breathing, just some other like fire breathing. Nothing like, I wouldn't say that it's like a specialty of mine, but I definitely have exposure to multiple different kinds of techniques. Wim Hof is probably the biggest one for me. I'm a big cold plunger. So that's been kind of a big kick of mine over the last couple of years. It's really made a huge difference on my capacity for health and wellness and whatnot. I love challenging myself. Like right now, it's like 40 degrees outside, and I'm in a nice t-shirt. I like to try and keep myself generating my body heat internally. Um, fun story, for example, to share about that aspect. Nate, as you talk about in the videos, oftentimes when you're doing a leap, right, when you're doing the internal energy, you've had a good workout session when you're sweating after doing the breath, right?
Oh, yes.
And so recently I had an opportunity to actually utilize that. We had an end of season track meet. My son made it to districts, and it ended up raining and downpouring here in Washington, and it was like 40 degrees outside. Like it was just there was no top on the bleachers, and so we'd actually brought a big huge tarp thing, but it was kind of leaking and whatnot, and my son just kept getting wetter and wetter. So I gave him my jacket and he soaked it and it was freezing. I gave him my sweater, he soaked it, it was freezing, and I was actually in a t-shirt
Wow.
trying to keep warm. And so the only thing that kept me going actually was I actually did the LEAP program over and over again just to keep myself from shivering, because it was like 35, 40 degrees outside, and it worked. It kept me going the whole time.
That's awesome. I love that. And I'm here in northern Utah, so it's about 35 degrees outside right now. It's a beautiful sunny day, but it's if you walk outside, you definitely know it's not summer. And that's definitely without a doubt something that, through the years of teaching the white dove method, which is in Indonesia is merpati putih, it's the white dove system. Part of the belt ranking structure in my former life of teaching the martial arts for 20 years is cold water immersion. And this is way before Wim Hof was ever on the scene, and we've been doing this for a long time. But cold water training has been done for thousands of years in Siberia, in Russia, in China, in Japan, in many different places. Not so much Indonesia. They try, but it's right almost on the equator. So where are you going to find cold water, really? Maybe a spring up in the mountains, and it could get cold. But for the most part, these things have been going on for quite some time, and it's really amazing to me how much the human body can actually endure and withstand and actually thrive in a condition that we've been taught, oh, put on your coat, you'll catch a cold. Well, as we know, it's not the cold that causes a cold virus. And we're taught, you have to eat 3 square meals a day. But I know several people that have water fasted for over 40 days and been fine. Now, granted, that's not maybe for everyone, but the human body can do this. So I applaud you for stepping into that and understanding, hey, I can do more with this. And it does take a little bit of mental willpower every time you get in that cold water. I do it every single day too, and have for many, many years. You never like it, but you're always better at the end of it. And to that end, I don't know if you remember the ALS ice bucket challenge. We all remember that, right? People.
Yep.
So the thing is that in Russia, they've been doing that for centuries. Even for small children that go out for recess and they pour buckets of water over their head in the middle of winter in Russia, because it makes sense that viruses and all other pathogens can survive usually in a small temperature range. So when you immerse yourself in cold water or pour it over yourself, it's a flash fever, and it helps to kill the nasties. And so especially in a country like Russia, where maybe they didn't have the best health care, you've got to do these things in a way that your body will naturally fight these things off. So hey, I went off on a tangent there, but I think that's really cool that you do that. And so what have you noticed with the LEAP program as far as, you talked a little bit about energy work and being able to feel and sense energy. How is the LEAP program and the building of this energy and the being able to feel, flow, and project it, how has that improved your life, but specifically your practice?
Yeah, so and actually, that was one of the main reasons why I was interested in it, right? So when I'm interacting with a person, I need to see them emotionally, physically, energetically. Sometimes it drives people crazy when they come and see me because I'm way more thorough than the average person, right? Like my intake process is 300 questions because I want to know the person from right now from when they were born, maybe even before they were born, if I could get that information, right? So it allows me to really get a whole picture of the person. And so I would say in the last couple of months, as I've been doing the LEAP program, I've always been relatively sensitive and relatively open to seeing the whole person. But what it's done is it's amplified my sensations, my senses. It's hard to describe, quite frankly, but it's kind of like, we all have an energy bubble, toroidal energy bubble, and we can kind of sense stuff if somebody walks in the room and whatever. And in my little space, in my little bubble in my office, I've always been able to, relatively speaking, kind of get a sense for something if somebody's got something here or there or whatever. But I would say it's 4x, 8x, 10x my ability to they walk practically in my office and I'm like, oh, I'm already getting hits off of what's going on with them. And, I can feel that over here and I can feel that over there. And it's way easier for me I don't have to put as much energy and effort into when I'm interacting with them, for example, and doing some of the other energy work that I'm doing. And also, as of note, another big piece that caught my attention, actually, when I watched one of your videos. I had been doing energy work for quite some time, and I'd really kind of been pushing myself like a year ago in doing energy work. And what I found was there was one particular day that I'd pushed myself really, really hard, but I didn't realize that I was using my own energy. And what happened was I was actually walking down a hill with my kids. We were just doing a couple mile hike in the woods, whatever. And I was trying to warn myself from some of my other stuff that I was using, but I depleted myself too much. And I actually turned off my left calf muscle, and I fell down and rolled my ankle and literally rolled over a couple of times. And it was at that point in time, like a year ago, that I realized, something's wrong with the way that I'm doing energy medicine. I'm not doing it right because it's jacking me up. I love helping people, but I don't want this to happen more. Like I'm over 40 now, and I want to maintain my health, not get sicker from this process. So I would say that's been one of the most significant pieces for me, is being able to power myself more and to be able to utilize energy around me and that sort of thing easier since doing this process.
I love it. That's fantastic. And that has been, without a doubt, as long as people have lungs and they have a body, this will do that for them if they actually do it. So it's like anything else. I think that, if you walk into a gym and you get a great trainer that will show you all the apparatus, how to use them, and this is the Stairmaster, whatever. There's all the things, but you only go once or once every 2 weeks. You're going to have results commensurate with the effort and the time that you actually invest in it. But if you just really, like you said, take that 10 minutes a day and invest in yourself, most people spend longer than that on the toilet. Hopefully they are having at least something happen every day. But the thing is if we're not willing to spend 10 minutes on our own health and longevity, well, there's a interesting cartoon that I had a little comic that I had up in my school for 20 years. And it was a doctor talking to his patient. And the doctor is telling his patient, they said, well, you can exercise for an hour a day or be dead for 24 hours a day. Which fits your schedule better? True story. But with the leap, it's amazing what happens physiologically as far as the VO2 max increasing, the acid base shift. There's so many things that happen just on the physical level. I wouldn't say just on the physical, but on the physical level with this type of a hard hypoxic breath holding, breath locking, pressurization of the pulmonary system, breath work system, which I've never seen anything else like it. Other ones, are hyperventilation, and they work on different chemical processes. But as far as activating the mitochondria and all kinds of cool things that happen from the raising of the CO2 and the pressurization of the circulatory system, the way that the White Dove method or the integrated ascension method does, is pretty unique. And so I love hearing your feedback as a medical professional and what you've noticed, because I've met a lot of doctors who they don't believe in subtle energy. It's not taught in their medical school. And so since they don't feel it, they don't see it, they don't taste it, hear it, or touch it, they don't think that it's actually there. But now we're coming to that point in human history where we have machinery that is able to actually measure this. And I'm a certified BioWell practitioner. So with the BioWell, you can get that gas discharge visualization, feedback of the energy field of the organ balance and things like that. It's really amazing as we step into this. And so it's always refreshing to hear people who are very knowledgeable in the medical field, who also are very knowledgeable and skilled in the let's say the future human potential field. I love that. So with you, where do you see yourself like using the leap and getting better at it in, say, the next 5 years?
That's a darn good question. Definitely the continual practice for me. So I'm a big gym goer. I've been going to the gym for multiple years now. I love it. I don't have, I bulked up as far as I want to be bulked up from that perspective. And so I've shifted my focus there. But one thing I am is consistent with going. Because my goal is to be the best human that I can be and kind of stretch myself and kind of just, like you say, go beyond my limits and keep going and keep growing. And I know there's a limit to that from a physical standpoint, but one of the things that's my favorite idea, thinking about what I could do with this process in the next 5 years, is I know I've heard lots of really cool stories. I know I've heard and or watched lots of videos on your prior career doing like vibrovision and telekinesis and all kinds of really cool stuff. For me, my next steps, just kind of for my own kind of, I don't know if I'd call it fun, but my own experimentation, are things like crazy weird stuff like astral projection and some of the telekinesis stuff. And but the reason why I like that is, not only does that seem really cool and like my childhood fantasy coming true, absolute 100%. Like, not to get off topic, but I got to share this one story with you. I remember I must have been like 8 years old. I just read this really cool, crazy book about energy and learned that atoms were mostly empty and whatever else, right? And I remember like so distinctly believing that now that I understood how atoms work, I was going to go ahead and take my hand, phase shift it, and put it right through the table.
Amen.
And I cannot tell you how disappointed I was every time I'd thunk on that table. I just couldn't get it to work. Just kind of a funny story in relationship to that. But it's so funny because now I come back after many years I kind of forgot a lot of that, as we all do, kind of going through teenage years and life and whatever else. And then I kind of come back to this, and it's like I'm learning how to be a kid again in relationship to all this stuff. It's like, maybe, something like that would be cool to be able to incorporate and learn how to do. And maybe I could do some of that cool stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the sky's the limit. I know with the possibilities. So from a clinical standpoint, I love helping people. I would love to be able to transition, just improve my abilities to get people better faster. That's definitely one of the things. And then continue to be able to kind of open and expand and maybe do some fun group stuff, and to be able to hold space and energy for group stuff, that sort of thing. So that would be kind of fun for me. That's what I see in the next 5 years.
I love it. I love it. So with, obviously you stepped into the LEAP program, but there's so much more in the integrated ascension method than just the LEAP. So there are things along the lines of the astral projection. There's also energetic healing for yourself and for other people, both in person and remotely, because obviously in the quantum, there is no space, there's no time, there's no distance or separation. And so those are things, as well as the mind, sight, and seeing without your eyes. These are a few things. What are you most interested in, and what do you think that most people would be interested in beyond just the building of the energy, increasing vitality and health?
I think that the majority of people are going to be focused on just improving their energy, improving their sex drive, and improving some of those like everyday. Like I would say the majority of people that I see are like, I want to be able to have energy to go back to the gym. I want to be able to have energy to like do my daily tasks and routines. I want to have energy to play with my kids some more, those sorts of things. And those are cool, but I want to go a whole lot farther than that. Like I said, like I want to do, so I'm already doing like distance work with people, and I already get great results. Like I got great results before I was doing this, but my results have amplified extensively with this process, right? So I would like to just see that continue to go up. Like what's the limit here? Like how much can I move and help a person move, and to be able to help them transition in a 30-minute session? Well, obviously some of it's going to be limitations based on their own psyche and physiology and stuff. I definitely recognize there's limitations from that perspective, but for my own self, like I love the idea of incorporating and playing with some telekinesis. Why not? And I have all the blindfolds, I have all the color stuff. My kids have already played with the mind sight and vibrovision like stuff, and teaching my front desk guy how to do it. So I love all that stuff. I haven't gotten very far with some of those sorts of things, but that's what I see the next couple of years. Nice. Working with you, working with some of the stuff that I'm doing, that sounds fun and exciting for me.
I love it. Everybody wants a superpower. And that's the before comic books, there wasn't even a thing, right? Except for within, the Shaolin monks or Taoists or certain ascetics or, religious devotees that were able to do things that are, I should say, future human abilities. Not really superhuman, they're future human, because this new generation that's coming through, being exposed to these things, it's a double-edged sword, and I'm sure you realize this as well, because they have a 3-second attention span, but they all want to be able to do something that takes years and years and hours of devoted work and devotion to be able to possibly do. Not everybody can see without their eyes. Very, very few people actually get that skill. But when it comes down to healing themselves, healing other people, that's, for most people, that's a much easier intrinsic skill that we have, as far as energy transference or modulation within ourselves or other people, through thought, than say seeing without your eyes or moving things without touching them, because then we have belief structures that do come in, and we also have natural aptitudes. Some people are great at math. I was never great at math. For me, music, I was just naturally a musical prodigy, and it just seemed to jive with me. And it was like almost on a genetic level. And so the interesting thing is that everybody is here to do something different and learn a different lesson and teach other people different lessons just by their beingness in their field. And so I love what you're talking about as far as seeing what can be done, instead of, I've encountered quite a few people like, oh, why can't I walk down the street and break metal with my body? It's like, Okay. Listen, something about gratitude for where you're at and having goals, but then also not being your own worst enemy and stepping on your own feet as far as, or tripping yourself up as far as reaching those. I love that attitude. So if I may ask, with what's coming up next for you, what would you recommend for the people out in the world as far as the LEAP program? Who is this for, in your professional opinion?
Yeah, so I mean, generally speaking, as you and I both know, the LEAP program's really good for an everyday American, right? It fits into the schedule. It doesn't take too much time away from Netflix or YouTube. But it gives you that good cardio boost, right? It gets the heart pumping like crazy. It's amazing how fast the heart can get going. It's great for the cardiovascular, great for that energy piece. It's great for a busy mom. I'm trying to motivate my wife to get on board to practice with me. I haven't got her there yet, but so it's for those busy moms. There's a little bit of devotion and energy you put out, especially in the very beginning. But even if you just do the LEAP program to kind of get started, and then if you want to add something along the lines later as time goes on, I feel like that's a huge boost to your energy that you have available then at all times, right? So my philosophy is, if you want to have energy, if you want to improve yourself at all, generally speaking, the LEAP program's good for anybody who wants to do that. I think you're right in the sense that there's not a lot of people who are disciplined or motivated enough to do the discipline necessarily, like break stuff with their body per se. But I think the general LEAP program would be really good for most people. I would recommend to most of my patients who come in the door who want to improve their health at least some basic level, because it doesn't take too much time. Again, there's the learning curve from the very beginning, but once you got it down, it doesn't take that much time to keep your energy up.
Right. Absolutely. Well, agreed. Absolutely. Like I said, 10 minutes a day. Everybody can afford to give themselves that 10 minutes a day for them, because they give so much to other people, especially as adults. We give and give and give, and we take care of our kids, we take care of our community, we take care of our patients. But how many times do we give and then not have that self-compassion for ourselves to give to ourselves? So as we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to mention to everybody out there, Dr. Sai, about your practice, about the LEAP, about motivation, anything?
Yeah, again, just one more plug for the LEAP program. It's a simple process. It's worth at least watching some of the videos and seeing some of your potential, and then having a little self conversation of, is it worth a little bit of time, a little bit of energy, a little bit of resources, because this is one of those things that's going to keep on paying dividends for the rest of your life. It's funny because I kind of laugh oftentimes. I tell people that I get paid to teach people to breathe, to eat, to poop, and to sleep, right? and that's basic construct and the importance of life. And so it's pretty expensive to come and see me. And so if you'll do Nate's LEAP program, you're probably going to stay out of my office unless you want to improve your health above and beyond. That's what I would leave everybody with.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I just want to say thank you so much, Dr. Fisher, for your time today, for being here with us, for sharing your experience with the LEAP and the White Dove method, now the integrated ascension method. And I look forward to communicating and connecting and staying in touch in the future and helping you with those other skills that you're looking forward to. I hope you have a wonderful day on purpose. Thanks so much again.
Thanks, Nate. Great talking with you.